the Galatherian Imperium had never been challenged. Its territories stretched across 1,000 systems, their star charts etched into obsidian walls in the imperial citadel of Archon. From orbit, Archon was an image of grandeur, a jewel of polished cities floating above an emerald sea, rimmed by defensive rings the size of moons. The Imperium's broadcasts proclaimed its culture the pinnacle of civilization, its fleets unbeatable, its rulers divine. In truth, the Galatherian Imperium had not fought a true war in centuries. Their legends were carefully curated propaganda. Their navy was a parade force, gleaming hulls that had never faced an enemy who could fire back. And because no outsider had ever stumbled into their domain uninvited, they saw no reason to evolve beyond ceremony. They never expected Earth. It started with a navigational mishap, humanity's first and only error in the encounter. A Terran deep-range exploration flotilla, led by the survey cruiser HSS Magellan's Wake, was charting subspace anomalies along the Perseid Drift. A microsingularity destabilized their slipstream corridor, ejecting them 500 light-years off course, directly into the heart of Galatherian space. The crew didn't realize their predicament immediately. To the Magellan's Wake sensors, the surrounding systems were unremarkable, standard G-type stars, modest industrial output, low emission signatures. When the first transmission arrived, it was not a hail but a demand. You have trespassed in sovereign Galatherian territory. Power down your engines and await boarding. Commander Isla Serrano, captain of the Magellan's Wake, blinked at the translation with mild confusion. She glanced at her comms officer. Did they say, boarding? Yes, ma'am. She tilted her head, intrigued but not alarmed. Transmit our apologies. Inform them we'll be on our way once our navigation array reboots. A moment later, a dozen Galatherian warships dropped from FTL, sleek, dagger-like vessels gleaming with polished gold trim. Their weapons arrays were fully charged. From their bridge, Galatherian Commander Trevorus Zenth prepared a rehearsed speech of subjugation, confident this single cruiser would surrender in awe of the Imperium's power. He opened the comms channel. You will deactivate your drives immediately. Your ship and crew are now property of the Galatherian Imperium. On the Magellan's Wake's bridge, Commander Serrano slowly leaned back in her chair. That's cute. The Galatherian boarding skiffs advanced in perfect formation, weapons humming. Their commanders expected a capitulation. Instead, the Magellan's Wake simply vanished. No energy surge. No hyperspace transition. One moment it was there, the next, it was absent. The Imperium fleet's sensors reeled in confusion, desperately scanning for any sign of the intruder. Serrano's voice crackled over their comms seconds later. We've shifted 6 kilometers off your port flank. Please adjust your scans. We'll be departing shortly. Her tone was so polite it bordered on surreal. Trevorus Zenth sputtered, unsure whether he was being mocked. With a flick of his hand, he ordered all weapons to lock on. Fire. Hundreds of lances of particle energy erupted across the void. A rain of brilliant beams stabbed toward the Magellan's Wake, only to vanish against a soft, translucent barrier that rippled around the Terran hull like the surface of a pond. No damage registered. Serrano sighed. Really? On Archon, the broadcast was relayed live to the Imperial Citadel. High Chancellor Ravian watched from his throne of living crystal. The chamber was crowded with noble houses and court functionaries, all gathered to witness the public humiliation of a primitive trespasser. But as the minutes passed, the ritual derision faded. What began as a display of power was devolving into confusion. Why aren't they firing back? A senator whispered. No one had an answer. Aboard the Magellan's Wake, Serrano rested her cheek against one hand, studying the data feed. The Galatherian weapons arrays were, by Terran standards, little more than antiques, energy delivery systems barely capable of penetrating a comet's crust, let alone a reinforced military hull. The Imperium's broadcasts had boasted of unmatched naval supremacy. The reality was closer to ceremonial theater. And the realization struck her with an odd sense of melancholy. "Comms," she said, "open a channel." When the Imperium's flagship accepted, she spoke gently. "Commander Zenth, you don't need to escalate this. We mean you no harm. We were simply lost." Her voice was calm, utterly devoid of fear. That, more than anything, unsettled the Galatherian officers. For the first time in their recorded history, they realized the legends of their own superiority might not be shared by the rest of the galaxy. When the Galatherian warships advanced again, the Magellan's wake finally demonstrated a fraction of its capabilities. A field of prismatic light blossomed outward, immobilizing every enemy vessel in a lattice of interdictive force. No damage, no explosions, just an eerie, silent paralysis. 1,000 kilometers of space fell quiet. Serrano stood from her chair. "Scan complete," her science officer confirmed. "Their power grids are under strain. Hull integrity is stable. They can't break free." She regarded the tactical display. To the Imperium, this was the moment they expected their foes to beg for mercy. But the humans didn't. They didn't care about the Imperium's illusions of grandeur. They simply wanted to leave. "All right," she said softly. "Let's get them moving." She gestured, and the Magellan's wake slipstream drive ignited. In a single smooth motion, the Terran cruiser folded spacetime, sliding through the blockade and emerging at the system's edge, perfectly aligned for departure. The immobilization lattice dissipated, leaving the Imperium fleet adrift in silent bewilderment. From our convey, the Imperial Court watched the final transmission. Commander Serrano appeared, her expression a mixture of politeness and faint regret. "To the Galatherian Imperium, we apologize for our unintentional intrusion. We wish you well in your future endeavors." Then the screen went dark. In the throne chamber, silence stretched interminably. The High Chancellor swallowed, voice brittle. "Is that all?" The question rippled across the watching noble houses. No demands for tribute. No threats. No sign of interest in conquest. The Terrans had come and gone as though the Imperium were a curiosity, a brief distraction in a routine patrol. Days later, the Galatherian public demanded answers. State broadcasts tried to reframe the incident as a valiant defense. But the raw footage had already circulated across the networks, the humans deflecting every attack without effort, their ship vanishing and reappearing as if the Imperium's finest technology were irrelevant. It became clear to all that the Galatherian Imperium's greatest humiliation was not defeat. It was the fact that humanity had not even considered them worth fighting. Far from our convey, in a Terran command chamber orbiting Proxima Centauri, Commander Serrano filed her final report. "Encounter concluded," she recorded. "No resistance requiring escalation. No indication the Imperium poses a credible threat. Recommend no further action." When asked later by historians what she thought of the incident, she offered a single sentence. "We found them underwhelming." The galaxy would never forget that judgment. Because in a single, unplanned encounter, humanity had shattered the myth of Galatherian supremacy. Without firing a single shot in anger.